Our final draft for the WRL is underway. The APFL teams had to cut their rosters to 18 today, and the APBL playoffs are heating up. All of this and more in 20 seconds. Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real broadcast, sponsored by Sport Management Solutions, your one-stop shop for all your athletic communication needs. Who's out there with me tonight? I see three are online. Sean is on with us. Sean says, let's go. Sean, how are you? Hey, so as we mentioned at the top of the show, we have our final WRL redraft draft going on right now for the Banshees region. We're going to pop in mid-draft here just so you can see the draft board. Hopefully you all can see that okay. So we have made it to the first three picks in the fourth round. We are 31 minutes in, which means we've probably done about 10 minutes per pick. I think there was probably a little bit of a pause for a couple of these as we had some problems with a couple of people getting online. And of course, even when we set it on auto draft, I think some of these teams take the full 2 minutes to even make that first auto pick. I'm not sure. Of course, this is the region that's got Dad's Memorial team in it. Jason says, what's up? Jason involved in this draft right now. Jason so far in the number 12 spot has taken Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford, Kamara, and Olave. I would be watching my bye weeks if I was you, Jace, because I'm not sure when Kupp and Stafford have off. Of course, it's the same, but so do Kamara and Olave. Let's just hope that they're not all four the same. That would be fun. So you have one bad week, not a big deal. So that is underway. I was going to try to jump in and see if we can see the guys actually sitting in the war room, but I don't think it's going to allow me to have two different StreamYards open at the same time and actually dump in on one from the other. So what we'll probably do a little bit later on in the show is jump back into that draft if we can. For the moment, what we're talking about is the other two drafts that finished since our last broadcast, which was the Dragons draft that happened on the 24th of August. That was a Saturday. Their draft was at 3 p.m. East Coast time. Here is the results of that draft. Let me see if I can get a little bit cleaner copy of it right there so you don't see that outer edge. There is their draft. I'll leave it up for a couple minutes. You can pause if you're watching this live. Pause if you're watching it later. Sean says, draft only Rams and Saints players the rest of the night. There you go, Jason. There's your strategy for the night. So that was the first of two drafts that we had on Saturday. The second one was the Phoenix draft. Theirs was at 10 p.m. East Coast time, very late night. Here is what their draft looked like, and we will leave it up on the board for a couple of seconds here as well. You can pause if you would like. Yeah, so the next thing we're going to talk about, and I'll pull it up and off the screen, the next thing we're going to talk about is the APFL roster cuts. So not only are we looking at the Banshees live draft, we are going to look at some APFL roster cuts and see if everybody made it down to 18 like they were supposed to by the 8 o'clock cutoff. Let's just go ahead and do a shared screen here as well. I will get myself out of the way if I can figure out how to do it. Let's go through the AFC teams first. Miami has made it. Buffalo is good. New England good. New York Wings good. Baltimore good. Cincinnati good. Cleveland good. Pittsburgh, I think, made it in last second, somebody said. Tennessee and Jacksonville. Indianapolis and Houston. Kansas City and Las Vegas. Denver and the Warhorse. All AFC teams have made it to the 18-player roster cut. Let's see what the NFC looks like. We're going through this in the NFC East. Dallas, Philadelphia, Washington, New York, all good. Green Bay, Chicago, Minnesota and Detroit all in the north are good. New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina, Tampa Bay in the south, all good. San Francisco, Seattle, Arizona, LA out in the west, all good. So I've got to say a great big thank you to all of the APFL general managers. That went a lot smoother than it did last year, so I appreciate you all a lot. I got nothing I can say about that other than I'll jump on Discord after we're done and thank everybody again for getting your rosters cut. So for the APFL, we will have our first after drop waiver wire next Wednesday, which is going to be the day before NFL kickoff, which will be on Thursday, which will be 5 September on Thursday. We will be back on 4 September next week to talk about all of the possible pickups that will happen. I think it is going to be a waiver wire frenzy. In fact, I think we've done a couple of shows that are titled something very similar to that. I could see next week's show being titled that as well. Before we start talking about baseball, because we're going to talk about it momentarily, let's get this. Oh, that's definitely not what I wanted to make happen. This is what, nope, still not it. That's what I wanted to make happen. Let's get that in there real quick. Let's see where the draft has progressed from. Anthony Richardson has been added, Mixon, A-Chain, Collins, Pittman, and Walker all added to teams. 3 more picks before we hit the end of the 4th round. Looking like maybe a little bit shy of 10 minutes per round, so could be one of the longer drafts that we've had so far, but still 10 minutes per round still makes it 2 hours and 40 minutes. We've only had one draft go past 2.5, one right at 2.5, and one go past 2.5. So still all good. Liking the way this is turning out. Hopefully everybody is enjoying themselves. I'm going to go check in on those guys after we get done with the show tonight, which is literally going to be a very short show because the only thing else that we got left to talk about major from the 3 highlights for the show is the APBL, which is our baseball league, the playoffs that are happening there. Let me bring that up and show that to everybody. So we are in week 21 of a 22 game regular season. The first 5 teams for the playoffs are locked. You can see that by the asterisk next to their name. So that is the Diamondbacks, the Giants, the Reds, the Cubs, and the Braves are absolutely already in. There's one more spot still available, and we got 2 teams fighting for it. The Yankees, who are currently at 11-9 down there in the East, they are playing the Giants this week, and they are behind right now to the Giants. And then the Cardinals, playing in the Central, are at 10-10, and they are down to the Angels right now, who are also in the West. So still possibly outcomes from this week and next week to determine who is going to take that 6th and final spot in the APBL baseball fantasy league this year. We are going to open that up next year to 4 additional teams. And in addition to the 4 teams that we're going to add to stretch it to 16 would also be any teams that we lose from the league from this year. So definitely 4 with the possibility of a few more if we lose a few teams from this year. So if you are interested in playing baseball with us, and the baseball league is eventually going to mirror exactly the landscape of Major League Baseball to include the MLB level, the AAA, the AA, and the single A level with promotion and relegation involved. And if you want to be a part of that, which is going to end up in being 16 times 4, which I can't do the math right now. I lie. It's going to end up being 32 times 4. 32 times 4 ends up being 128 teams. It will be 128 teams whenever it reaches its maximum potential. So if you want to be a part of that, let us know, and we'll put you on the list for next year. I'm assuming the could be one of 2 things. It could be a draft pick that just happened right now, or it could be you maybe thinking about joining the baseball league next year. Let me know, Sean. A couple things that we did this past week since the last show. We got the F3L schedule set. So anybody who is playing in F3L, that schedule is now set. And we have finally, 4 spots open with a possibility of a few more in case a couple people drop off. If you want in, let me know. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and lock you in now. If you say, hey, I want in, and give you one of the MLB teams. So you know what? We'll stop there for a second. We'll talk about it for a little bit. So here's the intent with the APBL, with us wanting to emulate Major League Baseball. Doing a little bit different than what we were doing with the APFL, where we were really worried about trademarks and copyrights on logos and stuff like that. I think that if we were to try to do something like the APFL, the football league, with the APBL and the baseball league, where we were doing emulated names, I think it would lose a little bit of what we were trying to accomplish with it. So we are using Major League, AAA, AA, single A team names and logos for the APBL. And we'll do it until somebody tells us that we can't do it anymore. And then we'll figure out a flex to that and change it. But the whole point of that is for us to build up to 32 teams in the MLB level. The reason we're doing 32 is because we're able to emulate a lot of what we're doing in the APFL with 32 teams. Same thing as what the NFL does. Plus, MLB has been talking for years about expanding to 32 teams anyways. We've already kind of got some fan favorites on the side whenever we get to that level. But what we're trying to do is get 16 to start off with and evenly distribute those 8 AL and 8 NL, kind of like what we've done this year with the 12. We have broken those into divisions right now. And it just so happens that does not matter if it's American League or National League, the division that those teams play in inside their own league is the division that they are playing in the APBL. It just worked out that way perfectly for 4-4-4. Hopefully we will still be able to do that again next year too. Like I said, it is a promotion and a relegation league. Once we have gotten to the 32 teams at the MLB level, that first year of competition, we will start having the promotion and relegation where so many teams at that MLB level will drop down to the AAA level, and then we will build the AAA up. And then the next year, whenever we fluctuate teams that go promotion and relegation, we will bring some of those from the AAA level up to the MLB level, and some of them will go down to the AA level, and then we will build the AA level up. So instead of working from the bottom up, working from the top down, while we're also doing the fluctuation of the promotion and relegation. So if you're listening to this right now and you're interested, let us know. We'll put you on the list for next year. Again, the F3L schedule is complete. Let's check in one last time on the draft and see where we're at right now. We have made it almost midway through the 5th round. Let's see where we stopped at last time. Walker. So now we're at Laporta, Stevenson, Waddle, Ayuk, Ingram, Jacobs, Moore, and McBride, all in that range. So we are on the way down the board in the 5th round. We have hit 43 minutes. I don't think we're going to make it all the way to the end of the round to make it a 9-minute per round pick, but I'd say we are comfortable with a 10-minute round pick. I'm liking the way this draft is turning out for all of those in the Banshees. So hopefully they will like what's happening. Thank you to everybody in the APFL for getting your rosters cut. I will say so in the Discord chat here shortly. We will be back next Wednesday on 4 September, which is the day before the NFL has their kickoff, which is going to be between Kansas City Chiefs, who are hosting the Baltimore Ravens. That will be game 1 of the NFL season. Let's get through this draft so everybody can get their lineup set. And I think that's it. That's a lot of ums for tonight. I'm just trying to make sure we fill a few more minutes of air here. I definitely want to thank all of our sponsors, Sport Management Solutions, Nature Coast Apparel. Thank you to Nature Coast Apparel. So Brandon is doing the last little business for us with contact to the FSA. We are still working on getting our prizes for the end of the 2023 season taken care of. The big major one being the cornhole boards and cornhole bags for our world champion. All of that art is finally done as we're getting ready to start the next season and has been shipped off to Nature Coast Apparel, Nature Coast Tailgating and Apparel before they drop the tailgating. So Brandon can get those boards done and sent off to Anthony, our world champion from last year. And then we are still working on the Grey Cup shirt for Sean Purcell, who ended up winning that tournament last year as well. I don't want Sean to think that we have forgotten about him. Also got to thank the Recast, the official music of FSA. And as always, I cannot end the show without thanking Brandon Gums for our new website. If you haven't seen the website, make sure you go out and check it out, iplayfsa.com. Thank you for watching the program tonight. If you're not doing anything, I will send the link out in the WRL chat here shortly, and I will bring you guys in on the StreamYard, and we can watch at least another couple of rounds of the Banshees draft, and we will see you all next week on the pre-opening kickoff night for our next broadcast on 4 September. You all have a great evening, and we'll see you next week.